Good morning, everybody. This is the new me. Here I am in workout gear. It's also kind of the old me. It just wasn't me for a brief spell. I say a brief spell, lockdown, basically. Gyms are open again now, so yay, I can go work out, although everything hurts. I've done 3 workouts last week, and honestly, I had to have days off in between, and everything is just agony because the amount of workouts I've done, right, consists of I have gone for 1 run and I have gone skipping in the local park about 3 or 4 times, and the sign went up saying no more skipping. So that has been it. Otherwise, I've just kind of embraced couch potatohood. I've got no excuse. There's plenty of room in this flat to be doing workouts. You know, I could do it in here, I could do it up in the bedroom. It's more just like a mind over matter thing. I really like having a space to work out in that I don't live in, I don't work in. I know everyone else is the same. We've all been in the same lockdown, so not an excuse. It's just I really struggle with it. So instead, I just sort of embraced what I call skinny fat. So I'm 6'3", I'm very slim. I like to be lean because for me to get like big, it's not really my style for one thing, but also it takes so much food and so much effort, and it just doesn't really fit with my lifestyle. So what I can do is kind of embrace my natural physique and just try to look lean. Currently, I'm nothing. I'm not lean, I'm not big, I just have got skinny with like a layer of like fluff on top. So started working out again when the gym's open last week. I've done 2 boxing sessions so far, and I've been to the gym once, and oh my god, everything hurts. Sarah gave me a cuddle this morning and I went, no, don't touch me. Like honestly, I'm boxing again today, hence my workout kit. I have missed it so much. I kind of embraced, like I say, sitting on the sofa and watching like shows and eating what I wanted and going, you know what, I'll sort out my body down the line. But I forgot how much I missed it, and I can't wait to get back in the ring today. Anyway, I'm vlogging today because it's Monday, and once again I forgot that I'm supposed to upload a video every Monday. It's kind of really hard to get back into the routine because it's been so long since I was, you know, uploading regularly. And also not loads is actually quite a lot is happening, but I'll fill you in as I go. But yeah, it's been not like loads of massive things to share because we've all just been at home doing lockdown. It's nice now though that some of the shops are open. And you know, we went shopping the other day for like a pushchair. Haven't bought anything yet because we were just sort of doing a bit of a recce, but now like things are open again. It's delightful to see other people, to see smiling faces, the sun's out. I went home to Norwich yesterday and I saw my brother and his baby, I saw my mum, went out for lunch with them like al fresco, and honestly, I've not seen them since like last September, and I have such a spring in my step after seeing my family. Little tiny Bobby, if you follow my brother on Instagram, you'll know she is my niece. She's 2 and a bit, and she's just like an absolute treasure. So I feel really good, and thought I'd share some of my mood with you today via a vlog. I also want to ask plant people, is this plant okay? I love this plant to pieces. Let me take it to the light so you can see it better. The house is a mess, I'm very sorry. Is it okay? It looks, I mean, the white specks on it are bicarbonate of soda because I was told, no, baking powder, because I was told that if your plant looks a bit unhealthy, like a bit fungally, you put baking powder on it, and it's supposed to sort of defungalize it. But if you can see down the bottom where the roots are, come on camera, focus. There we go, where the roots are. The roots feel a bit spongy now, and they used to feel so like solid. And what's on the bottom here, I thought was like some sort of fungus stuff, so I put the baking powder on it, and it's just gone a bit like, eh. What do I do? Do I give up hope on it? I really like this guy because he doesn't take much watering and he's very pretty, and I like how he's sort of got his arms outstretched. I'm just making myself some breakfast. I'm having scrambled eggs on toast. I thought I'd give you like a little bump update because there's been some developments which have been wonderful, actually, apart from, not all wonderful actually, Sarah's sickness has come back with a vengeance. Now, to begin with, we thought it was something she ate because we went out for dinner, we sat outside and it was lovely. And both of us felt a little bit funny because we had like really rich pasta. Both of us felt a little bit funny when we got home, and then Sarah was like violently sick, and I tend not to be sick anyway. I've got like a very strong constitution. And I was like, oh, I don't feel so good either. So maybe, and Sarah's typically just quite pukey as a human being. So I was like, oh, maybe it's just food. And then the next 2-3 days, in fact, up until yesterday, she's been sick most days. So the sickness is better than it was during the first trimester, but it does seem to be rearing its head again, so keeping an eye on her. She's also struggling a little bit with her weight, because obviously with the sickness, there comes not a big appetite for food. So she's not quite, it's not a worry, it's not like it's not a problem at the moment, but she's not putting weight on as fast as we would like her to, or as fast as like statistics would like her to, I suppose. So it's on our minds. We actually have our 20-week scan. 20 week? 21 weeks. We have our scan on Friday. Today's Monday. So we've got time to sort of try and rectify things. And she woke up this morning feeling right as rain. So fingers crossed, it's just like a little blip. But, you know, we are keeping an eye on things. Also, so much movement, and she's really, really wriggly, and particularly to my voice. Now, I take it, I'm really smug about it, but I actually think that it's more just because my voice goes, you know, I put my face to Sarah's tummy, so, you know, the voice goes direct to the baby, whereas Sarah's voice is coming up here, from up here. But every time I talk to her, she gets really, really wriggly, and it's so nice. And this morning, she walloped me, like... Sarah was sitting there in bed next to me, and then she went, "Oh, that feels funny." And she says, what I find fascinating, she can feel like movement before she feels the kick, or like the push, or whatever it is. Like, I think she can obviously feel sort of the draw in that the baby does before she like pushes out. And she went, "Ooh," and then went, "Ooh," and said that she felt her hardest sort of wallop. And I put my hand on her. Now, I've only been able to feel it for 5 or 6 days. Prior to that, Sarah's been feeling like little sort of interesting movements, but it, you know, obviously the little girl's so small in there. There's been no sort of anything I could feel from the outside. But the last week or so, I've been really feeling things. And this morning, I think she just sort of like walloped me, and it was like really odd. There's a person inside Sarah that's sort of like reaching out. It's strange, and if it wasn't my baby, I'd think it was really disgusting because it's such a weird idea. Apparently she's also now sort of developed taste buds and things, and according to the app that we have, which by the way is called Pregnancy Plus, and if you're pregnant or you want to follow the journey of somebody else that is, it's wonderful because every week you get an update with like actual size and also just sort of like the key developments that are going on. So every Tuesday, for us is our new week, and we say, oh, we've got a new alien on the app, because to begin with, obviously your baby looks really weird and alien-like, and it kind of keeps you up to date with things. And apparently, according to the app, our little girl has been licking the inside of Sarah's womb, just like sort of experience the taste of things. How gross! And also, apparently, to begin with, breast milk tastes a lot like the amniotic fluid, because that's what your child is used to sort of like breathing and eating, and I mean, it's gross. I mean, it's wonderful, obviously, it's amazing to how nature does these things, but when you think about the physiology of it all, it's really gross and slimy. Every time I talk to Sarah's tummy, I ask the baby if it's slimy in there, because I imagine it's just like really mucusy. Here she is, just discussing if it's time for her second breakfast.
Oh, I hate that I have 2 breakfasts a day. Who have I become?
One for you, one for you, one for the baby. Look at this bump. So bumpy, turn to the side. Here we go, look.
Noticed I've got like a little bit of a rash coming on, like dry skin. Apparently that's a common pregnancy.
Is that like, I know it's my answer for everything, but is that
such a man.
Is that hormones? I know, like, is that it's a real reductive.
Like if you were actually going to edit these like old school Jim used to be, when you said hormones, that should go like da, 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 hormones. That's your favourite.
I just don't know. I mean, what I do know is that I know people use hormones as, especially men, use it as an oversimplification for everything, but actually they do play such a huge part in mood and physiology and everything. So although I just sort of use it as a general term, and it's very reductive, I do think it kind of stands true.
It probably is hormones, but it does make me laugh that you're just such a bloke that you're like...
It's all I got in my locker.
Hormones.
That's all I got in my locker, I don't know. I was about to say something, I forgot what it was. What was it about? Oh, the bump. We're at a point now where Sarah's growing by the day. I think because obviously it's fairly exponential. To begin with, obviously it's just 2 cells. There's a sperm and an egg, and then obviously it divides and divides and divides. But the more of it there is to divide, the more it can grow. So there's a point where the beginning bit, there's just nothing. But I've noticed in the last week or so, the bump's getting so much bigger. So we are just about the halfway mark, aren't we?
Yeah, but I do think I've been talking about this with some friends that are pregnant, that people have different bumps. Have you saw your family?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying, when I was talking with Rosie, and she said she had she met her friend who was pregnant almost at exactly the same time as her, and her friend was looked like she was twice the size of her at my stage. So some people just carry differently. And I think some people that worries them. I could hear as I was coming down the stairs, you're talking about feeling the movements as well. That's something else I've noticed. Some people get to 24 weeks and only just feel, and then they all panic and go oh my god, I've not felt it yet, or I should be bigger, or I should be smaller, and actually them hormones.
We had, was it last week? Sarah didn't feel any movement for about I don't know, 12 hours or something. So in the morning of that day, we felt a wriggle, and Sarah's like, oh, she feels a bit lethargic. I don't know how, but obviously, mum knows what's going on in her body. I had a little chat to the bump, and she wriggled a lot, and then I went off and I had to get a haircut and do some various things. And Sarah suddenly felt anxious. I haven't felt her move for a while, and all day long, nothing. And then we finally felt something in the evening, and I just saw the relief. I wasn't worried actually, because it was actually Sarah's best friend, who is about 3 months ahead of us, right? With her pregnancy, she did exactly the same thing, and she went to hospital to get checked, and they said there's nothing wrong. Your baby's just having a rest or whatever. So I wasn't worried at that point, but I just saw the relief flood over Sarah as soon as she felt. It's the only time you get kicked and go, oh, thanks.
I know. Yeah. It's nerve-wracking, and it's the first time, and then it was the first time for the shops, and it kind of tainted. Yeah. It didn't taint it, but it was really hard to.
Especially because we were shopping for baby stuff.
Yeah, and then you're looking and thinking every time I was picking something up, I was like, well, I've not felt her move.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a bigger, if I distracted myself maybe with not baby stuff, I probably wouldn't have been as bothered.
I'm sure anybody out there who is going through pregnancy, who's been through pregnancy, or is a parent will understand the worry you have constantly. It's a really weird sensation of pure and utter joy, but also terrifying worry, because obviously we can't see our baby in there, and every time there's any sort of, even if there's a symptom of a sign that something isn't right, you get really paranoid about it and really worried about it, and it drives you bonkers. Allow me to introduce you to my most recent side project, which is done purely because of good people and good stuff, basically. These are all sunglasses by Taylor Morris, only they're not only by Taylor Morris, because they're also by JC, Jim Chapman, as you can see from the arm here. So I have been friends with the Taylor Morris team for, it must be about 5 years now. The first pair of sunglasses they ever gave me, I remember vividly. They were for Fashion Week, and I wore the hell out of them. It must be about 5 years ago. And I've been friends with them ever since, because at the time they were a very small company. And I've done various bits and bobs with them. A couple of years ago, before COVID and all that, I went on a trip with them to Costa Rica. And just had a wicked time, and I got to kind of really bond with the owners of the brand themselves, and they sort of suggested that we work on a project together. Now, of course, there's been a pandemic between them, so things have been a bit slower, but essentially they just invited me in to their HQ and asked me to design sunglasses for them. Now, this is the shape that I've gone for. These are called the Westbourne, and they are essentially a classic pair of sunglasses, but just a bit more angular, and they're bloody great, basically. And I've been wearing the hell out of the style since they released. And they said, what are your favourite ones? And I said, them. And then, okay, let's design some. So I went into their office and they literally just bombarded me with acetate and lenses and like the hardware, like the metal bits. Went, off you go then. And I was like, what? I just do this, do I? And out of context, those things are just lifeless lumps of material. The acetate in particular is just like a rectangle. And to visualize, I don't know how the guys do it. In fact, I don't know how I did this because they've turned up really, really well. And I'm not sure it wasn't fluke, basically, but to visualize that from just a lump of acetate and, you know, some bits of metal and everything is not easy. Right, so I'm gonna give you a real quick whistle-stop tour before I leave for the gym in fact, I should have gone 5 minutes ago. So a real quick whistle-stop tour. I'm gonna start with this pair because I think these are probably the most versatile in that they tick a lot of the boxes that can be used for different situations. Firstly, they've got the classic grey lens, which is the bestseller of most sunglasses like throughout the world, you know, that sort of classic colour. The acetate's slightly different though, which I love. It's tortoiseshell, which again is very classic, but on the outside here you can see it's slightly more matte. So it just adds a little bit of more texture. On the inside though, it isn't matte. It's still got that sort of shiny feel to it. Please ignore any fingerprints on them, by the way. I wore them yesterday. And then we've gone for the sort of the shiny metallic hardware on the bridge here and then on the arms. And of course, you've got the JC here. Don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Come on. You've got JC there, and then you've got the Taylor Morris logo on there. There you go. Now, the next pair are probably the pair that I have been wearing most. They're quite similar. Again, they're tortoiseshell, very slightly different tortoiseshell, but not matte on the outside. Now, the lenses have a gradient in them, so they're bluer, like darker blue at the top, and then slightly lighter blue down the bottom. Now, when I spoke to the Taylor Morris team, they were a bit like, ooh, okay, interesting, because these are quite a delicate frame, and on a smaller frame, gradient doesn't always work very well. But I was like, oh, I think it could be all right. And I had absolutely no authority to say that because I've never designed sunglasses in my life. And they were like, you know what, let's give it a whirl. And they didn't make loads of them, so you know it wasn't a massive risk for them. But actually, they're wonderful to wear because it makes the world look so nice. And obviously it's a darker blue at the top, so obviously the sky is above you and it makes the sky look like a really beautiful colour. And then below, everything just is slightly blue tinted, but like in a really nice way. I love sunglasses that I've got another pair which aren't Taylor Morris, which I've had, probably my oldest pair of sunglasses ever, and I wear them every time I go snowboarding because they just make the world. They make the blues look really blue and the whites look really white, and it's wonderful. So I love these, and I think I've probably worn these the most. The next pair are kind of like my Iron Man pair. You know how Iron Man wears sunglasses that are only a very slight tint? These are my rose tinted sunglasses, so they're a pink tint. And again, they're great for when it's not quite so bright. So if you're driving, if it's slightly overcast, if you want to just accessorize, or if it's kind of a day where, you know, the sun's out but it's not like glaring, and they're just a really cool item. Again, there's tortoiseshell, but a slightly different tortoiseshell, and again it's matte around here, and then the hardware is the same. But they're great. Again, like, you feel cool in them because they're sort of not super heavy sunglasses, you know, they're light, and they just add a little bit of something. And if nothing else, you can wear them on a grey day and accessorize, but I think they're great. Here we have what I think of as really cool country sunglasses. Like, I can imagine going on a long walk with a dog with these because they're slightly heavier. What I find amazing as well is that these are all the same shape, the same sunglasses, but these ones look different because of the materials we've used. So they're slightly darker with the acetate. The lens is darker. The sort of the inside metal of the rim here, again, is slightly darker. So if you compare it to, say, these ones, which are much more sort of like bright and open, these ones are like a heavier, harder, like a heavier duty pair. And then we've got like the brushed metal for the hardware on the arms and everything. So again, super cool, but for a very different situation. Like, you know, you'd wear these for something very different that you'd wear these ones for. And then again, the final pair are mirrored, which again is a bit of a funny, because mirrors don't always do well, and I don't actually wear that many mirrored sunglasses, but I do wear some. sometimes with mirrored sunglasses, especially if they're big sunglasses, I feel that they're really anti-personal. You can't really talk to people because they're just getting a big reflection back at them. Because these are quite delicate, quite a small frame, I think they work really well, and they're just gives it a little bit something extra. You know what I mean? It's something a little bit different. So there you go. I'm really proud of them. So if you want to see them on the website, there's a link down there. Feel free to click around and go for it. I just think they're great. So thanks very much. I'm off to go punch stuff now at the gym. So just about 8 rounds then, as like, not a warm-up, an actual workout, but we've got loads more to do. Now when I say 8 rounds, I mean 1 minute rounds. Typically, if I were fit, like I was last year, we'd be doing like 3 minute rounds, but I haven't got it in me. So Ryan, my coach, is breaking me in gently. I say gently, it's awful. But you know, there's no point in going too hard and just being awful and being demoralised. And now he's setting up some elaborate sort of cone system around the bag. Whew. I mean, Ryan used to be, what did you used to be? Captain of the world? What was your thing?
Just call me captain. I'm captain of the England team, captain of Repton, boxed for England 45 times, had about 125 fights.
I mean, he says that like it's nothing. Basically, he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger meets Rambo. He's been around a bit. He's basically Rocky. Great coach though, I have to say. In fact, this place, if you aren't aware, you don't follow my Instagram, this is called 12 by 3, 12-3, because obviously 12 rounds, 3 minutes. It's in the Aldgate East, simple tube journey. If you're looking for boxing stuff, Ryan does one-on-one sessions. Also, they do great classes, so even if you're like a beginner, I mean, I've done a bit of boxing before, but when I met Ryan, I realised how much of a novice I am. He never makes me feel shit about it. You know, we go at my pace, but like at my pace plus a little bit, so you're constantly working and learning. I feel like I've learned something new. And that's not easy to come by, you know? Anyway, gonna punch a bag.
He normally does more training than this as well.
Yeah, right?
Go! Go! Go!
894 calories. That is not bad. In fact, I can't even hold the camera. Woo! Good session. Can someone explain to me how it's 5 PM already? This is why I don't work out in the middle of the day. My session was at 1 PM, so I spent the morning pottering and doing like a little bit of work, but knowing that I couldn't really get too heavily into it until after my workout because I'd be interrupted. I got back, I put some laundry in. Somehow, it's now 5 PM and I've got so much to do. All really good stuff. I'll give you a little quick work update. My film is we're closer now than we ever have been, which I guess is just the passing of time, I don't know. We had a read-through with actual cast 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Not all of the cast were the cast we want to use, but I think we might have found our lead, we might have found our female lead, and we might have found the male supporting character, and we might have also found a few of the other cast dotted throughout. Shush! Really exciting. I spent last week going back and forth with the production company. I actually had a meeting with them in real life outside in the open air, and we talked about a lot of stuff. So we're getting there. Cast is attached, production company is attached, director is attached. It's close. The thing with like the world of film is that close isn't done, so I don't get excited until like we're on set or we're doing the thing. But this is the first screenplay I wrote in 2017, and it's very much not that screenplay anymore. I've obviously done loads and loads of work to it, and it's been adapted and it's been changed and it's evolved, and now it's very different but much better than when it started. It's now 2021. It was supposed to get made last year, but obviously COVID put an end to that, and because of that we've been able to regroup and actually get bigger and better, which is great. But it's wonderful. So it's really, really exciting, and it keeps you really busy. But also, you put so much time and effort and so much of your heart and soul into it. Like, I love this script. I love the way it is now. I'm so connected to it. I'm so like invested in it. I really like the cast that we've got so far, and they're actually really of a great caliber. They're really great actors. And actually, when we met them we did the read-through via Zoom because we couldn't meet at the time. And they seemed like wonderful people, and I can just imagine being on set and it being great. I've got a couple more screenplays that I've been writing throughout as well. They all just take so long. So they're in the pipeline, and actually even to get them to the point where people are considering them is amazing, as I wasn't really expecting that when I first started writing. But it's constantly terrifying because you just sort of think, am I doing this for any reason? Because if it all came crashing down, it would be for naught. But it wouldn't, because I've really, really enjoyed the process and I've learned so much. And even I'm of the attitude that if it didn't happen, it doesn't mean it can't happen. It means it might happen down the line. But it also means that I've had a wonderful experience throughout the journey, you know what I mean? Anyway, we're at the point now where we haven't made official offers to the cast, but we've spoken to the cast and well, the ones that we like for the roles, and they're super keen. In fact, I was DMing one the other day, and she's totally up for it, and like, it's really exciting. But it's, yeah, there's still a long way to go. And now I have to do lots of work because I need to write, I haven't written a synopsis for it yet, which is really weird because I have written a synopsis previously, but because it's changed so much over time, there's no point having a synopsis that's sort of obsolete. So now we are at the point where all we need to do basically is find a home for it. And we like the idea of it being like a streamer first thing. Now that we've all agreed on the script that we like, I need to write a synopsis and I need to sort of put like a packaging deck together. There's a lot to it, and it's 5 PM and I have to finish this video and I need to edit this video and upload this video before I even look at that. So I think it's going to be a late one. On that note, I'm going to end it now because I've got like a ton to do and I've got loads of emails to respond to about it all. Again, exciting, but the workload is up here somewhere. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully one day you'll get to see at least one of my films. I've written a few, and I think this one and one other seem to be going the distance. Fingers crossed. Of course, you won't see them for a long time because they take a long time to get made and they take a long time in the edit and then they take a long time to get released. So we're looking at a couple of years probably from now. Unless, you know, sometimes they happen quicker. Anyway, that's the end. Thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.